Welcome back to another episode of the Disrupting Podcast. Today's a unique episode. We are privileged to have Sean Dollinger of PlantX join us. So,
thanks for having us on, Dana. Really appreciate it. Hey to Alex as well. And obviously, you hear some beeping in the background here. I'm live at the store and now the hub for e-com in Canada. So thanks for having us on.
It's our pleasure. Both Alex and I have been huge advocates of plant-based foods for a while. It's obviously a very disruptive space. Hence, we have you on today so that we can better understand where the industry is headed and how PlantX is going to be a significant player.
Absolutely. And like over the 10-year journey for myself, you can't believe how great the products are coming out now from the Beyond Meats of the world, Impossible, and every week we're contacted by new vendors. The dairy products, the dairy alternative products will blow your mind. I say if I'm in a wine and cheese tasting and I blindfolded the room, nobody would be able to tell the difference. So it's just such an exciting space and we just see it growing tremendously.
Well, and it's exciting for you guys and for anyone that's thinking of indulging in plant-based foods. I wouldn't really know where the hell to go to get it, right? And I obviously, I want a variety to choose from. Who doesn't want options? And just based on, what you have behind you, I mean, gosh, you must have thousands of SKUs, right?
Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to point that out because we actually have, I believe, 3,000 SKUs. And the beauty about this industry compared to other e-commerce companies that I've built, the SKUs don't take up much space on the shelf, as you can see. And sometimes they're like $2 or $3 a product, and you only need to buy a case to bring it in for people to try these exciting new products. So a place like ours, and it dawned on me, and I know it sounds silly being the founder of the company, but I walked into the store when it opened and I'm like, oh man, I don't even need to look at the ingredients. Everything is plant-based in here, and it's just awesome.
Well, you certainly learn a lot too when you buy these plant-based foods, a lot of which have great packaging. They highlight, the benefits, what you're consuming. Like, it's incredibly transparent. And as a consumer, you actually feel great about your decision making because if you buy anything else, you really quite don't know what it's broken down to. And so I have, in a sense, kind of peace of mind with things that I buy. This is not going to be crap food for my health, which is refreshing, right? But so talk to us about the business, right? You're an e-commerce platform. What exactly are you guys selling? I know there's, just beyond plant food too, you guys sell plants. Talk to us about the business.
So I love it. And it might sound simple, the slogan I'll give you, but it took a while to come up with it. Your one-stop shop for everything plant-based. And that's essentially what we are at the end of the day. So if someone's looking for meal delivery, groceries, learning about the plant-based space, products for their pets even, we carry it all. And I'm glad, Dana, that you started off by pointing out that we are an e-commerce company, because looking around where I am right now, you might be like, hold on a sec, are they brick and mortar? And if we look at 3 of the $1 trillion companies in the world right now, being, let's say, Tesla and Apple, they started with showrooms on education.
Yep.
And in order to capture a customer, in order to teach them when we're entering something new, like if you think about it, when Microsoft got started, when Apple got started, did you ever think that they would be able to take over the home operating system? They dominated the market, 90+%. How does a company come and take traction away from that? And it really started with these beautiful showrooms that Apple put together that really focused on education. And that's really, truly what we're doing here, where a customer comes in the door, they're like, wow, these 2,000-3,000 products are amazing. And then they go to our website where we have 10,000 products. Well, now it's not just that one customer walking in the door to make a $50 or $60 purchase. You have a value for a year of a $5,000 customer. That's what
would you say
brings value.
That's one of the hurdles of starting a business like this? It's just like the awareness of, hey, plant-based foods, there's a ton of opportunities. There's a ton of options. You don't know until you walk into a store like this or you visit your website. Do you think that's a fair statement?
100%. And I would say if I was able to put this on a magnet, I would walk around with you through the store, but you'd be absolutely blown away, right? So many people say, how are you plant-based? You just eat what? Bread and pasta? Like that's all there is to it, right? And then you walk through a store like this with thousands of products and you start, wow, I didn't realize this could be plant-based. Oh, wow, I didn't realize this could be plant-based. And then at the end of the day, you know, you're all of a sudden living a plant-based lifestyle.
When it comes to my followers, we're big into technology investments. We're big into something that's going to be changing the world and basically becoming essential. And biggest one that we invest into is green energy and like electric vehicles. And the biggest thing is that people want to have a more sustainable vehicle. But in the same way, why not do the exact same thing with your life? We're seeing with hyperinflation with prices for meats. We're seeing it right now with the amount of like CO2 gases that are coming from those animals that are being harvested for those meats. I think that if you're trying to have a more sustainable lifestyle for not only your body, but also the environment and your wallet, plant-based foods sounds like a smarter move to invest into, not only for your pocket, but also for your body.
At the end of the day, we're using our platform that I've built for the last 20 years now for plant-based living. But if you look at Chewy.com, which was developed for, the pet industry, and Zappos for the shoe industry, when those were growing to the scale that they are here in a plant-based lifestyle, nothing better than a platform that gives it all.
Another great common, misconception that I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are on, Sean. Plant-forward food can be expensive. How is it comparable? What would you say about that? If I had $100 here and $100 there of each type, we getting about the same bang for our buck?
Yeah, no, and I think as time goes on, we keep seeing prices actually fall, right, as competition comes out. So I think that idea of plant-based being so expensive, think about it. When there's just a few little gourmet products on a shelf,
yeah,
they're charging a premium, right? As the competitive nature starts rolling in, like our company was born during a pandemic, and we still seen the plant-based space erupt, right? And now all of a sudden, prices, when you have, when I'm looking at this shelf and we have 20 different chocolate bars and there's probably 100 different out there, they need to be competitive. Otherwise, who's going to buy them?
And to kind of like what I said at the beginning, to kind of go into this, is that we're actually seeing where there's an apex coming, where you're seeing plant-based food starting to decrease in price, but also meat-based, like I said, chicken, beef, you name it, it's increasing in price. There's going to be a point where they're going to be meeting each other. And I see, like, over the last statistics-wise, over the last couple of years, people have been increasing, transitioning into plant-based foods. So I think that there is a demand, and people are going to, over the next couple of years, are going to be trying to find sustainability. And for the price right now, it makes sense to transition, especially when prices are about to be met. So I think that's a good thought for investors to pay attention to.
Well, inevitably, absolutely, too, if we want to do right by the world and the earth and the climate, we have to take these strides. And so I think, people will be more enthusiastic about this. You walk into any grocery store now, they start to have, a small selection, but you just don't know where to get it. Hence, we came to PlantX, started a nice dialogue with your company, and here we are today, which we're, again, grateful for your time here, Sean. I wanted to ask you a question. So, in doing a little bit of prep work for this, I was reading an article that came out in February. It was a case study by Yale University that said 94% of Americans are willing to eat more plant-based foods. So that's a plus, right? People are open-minded. And about half are willing to eat more vegan meat and dairy alternatives. So great conversion numbers already. And then more than half of the Americans surveyed in that particular report said that they would eat more plant-based foods if they had, more information and the environmental impact of those food choices. So how do we bridge the gap there on just providing more information, to all of those Americans that are eager to know, but where the hell do they go for it?
Funny you bring that up, and I just was with the managing partner of Boston Consulting Group out of East Asia, And he goes, Sean, you guys have such an incredible website. You should really, really elaborate on the resource side of things. So right now we touch on a plant-based lifestyle, but that's something really that we're going to be focusing really hard on over the next year or so, is really this one-stop shop resource in depth to cover exactly what you're speaking about. Because when we started a year and a half ago, there still wasn't much data out there. And now there's so much information. And when people are coming out, oh, well, pea protein's not good for you. Let's take a minute to think who might make those kind of remarks out there. You know, it could possibly be the meat companies, the dairy companies, to put a little bit of fear into the environment. So it's going to be really interesting. Like when I look at it, and again, not a doctor, but protein from peas, like, you know, how bad can that be for you? So at the end of the day, there's all these different things that I always truly believe you should listen to yourself and think what possibly makes sense. And more importantly, when you put a product in your body, how does it feel?
Would you say too, Sean, though, so we talked about awareness. Is it fair to say that your customer acquisition costs are much higher than like a traditional online retailer, you know, because you have to educate your customers? Or is it fair to say that they're already aware and they're coming to you because they know what they want?
100%. You know, no, our cost per acquisition is probably the lowest that I've ever encountered in any of my e-commerce businesses. And,
Great for you.
And the beauty about it is once we find a customer comes into our environment, they remain extremely sticky.
Yeah.
And some of my previous businesses, they buy one item and they have it for 3 years. Here, it's a weekly, bi-weekly event that takes place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're an online grocer at almost, right? I mean, rarely, I bet, you know, your average transaction doesn't include just one item, that people are, you know, buying enough to supply themselves for 30 days or so. That's awesome.
How does PlantX penetrate the market and capture like the market share?
Well, I love what you guys said earlier on the report from, I believe it was Yale. And you reinforced something that I've been going out there saying from day one. People would say, oh, well, the vegan industry or the plant-based industry is only a $20 billion market or whatever. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Every single human on the planet needs to eat food. It's not like you're deathly allergic to plant-based food. I probably could show you some products in here, some of the chips and some of the other things where you'll be like, I see those on everyday shelves. And that's what I've tried to tell people, you know, that this sector is so enormous that there's endless potential.
And so, like, I absolutely agree with that, just because of, like you said, everyone needs to eat. And so their income is the potential market share for vegan plant-based foods. So with that being said, who do you think are like your biggest competitors, and how do you create a strategic advantage above them for PlantX?
So obviously all the, the markets out there are somewhat a competitive nature, right? Like the Amazons of the world, the Walmarts of the world. And what I tell people, you go into a Walmart or you go into an Amazon and you start asking them about plant-based living, let me know how that conversation goes, you know? So, and our prices are competitive, you know, so it's not like we're charging a premium. So if you go to Walmart or us, what's the difference? And then everybody uses FedEx. Sure, Amazon now has their own delivery, but I believe now they started this thing for their grocery section. They're actually charging $10. So thank you, Amazon, for making it competitive for us. You know what I mean? Like before, if they were offering it for free, it's hard. And believe it or not, what we've learned in a year on the way you got to package items, the way things could break, the way things could shift during shipping, those resources have allowed us to be ahead of any competitor out there due to the nature of the shipping. So, yeah.
You make a really good point, too. I mean, you go into a Walmart, they only have so much real estate to stock their everyday items. And they're only going to allocate, if they do, you know, a very small portion of the store for plant-based foods. So here you guys are hyper-focused. And anyone that's, you know, looking for plant-based foods, you know, you're able to cater to almost every possible need. One-stop shop, right, Sean?
Exactly. Your one-stop shop for everything plant-based. So everybody loves it so far.
What would you say gives, in your mind, gives you the most hope about the industry's growth and like the customer adoption?
Just the reaction from individuals walking into the store, and as Alex hit on, costs of meat products spiraling out of control and all these other products. Here we have something sustainable. We have something that allows people to feel great, and the flavors. And I just love seeing when somebody tries plant-based living, especially when it's with me. They're like, wow, I didn't know that things could taste like this, or wow, I didn't know I could get full from it. So it's just getting over what we've all been trained over X amount of years, what we believe is right or what we believe is healthy, to make the shift, because this is the future.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So can we talk about your platform? So you've already said in your brick and mortar that you're standing in right now, you have around 3,000 products, but overall from your brick and mortar as well as your website, how many products do you sell? Like how many active SKUs do you have?
Yeah, we have, I believe the last count is a little over 10,000, because we don't believe plant-based living is just the products you put in your body, but what you surround yourself with. So we have one of the leading plant subscription companies in the world. Like Beautiful Plants, I actually have one right in front of me, like things like this for your home.
Love it.
And we're working on a acquisition with a plant-based cosmetic company. So all of these different things, because I don't know when this will come out, but the markets are closed. But in a few hours from now, we're mentioning, we're going on record saying we're acquiring one of the leading coffee subscription companies in Canada. And that plays nicely into an environment like this, where a staff member speaks to them and is like, hey, why don't you give our sustainable coffee a try? And it shows up at your doorstep a couple times a month, and it's absolutely amazing. So there's all these great products.
You talked about, and I'm so fascinated with this, you mentioned cosmetics. So now we're talking about a whole other sector that could be plant-based. That's really exciting. But as we know, cosmetics, massive industry, killer margins. What other sectors are there that are plant-based, or could be plant-based?
Cleaning products for the house.
Yeah.
Paper towels, even. Everybody uses paper towel, napkin, items like that. I'll tell you, once that's flying for us is the pet space. That's a whole different vertical on its own. And the beauty about what we're doing, it seems like everybody's kind of going into a plant-based, and that's why I love being the platform of choice, because guess what? That product's going to appear on our platform. Alex was a customer of ours. Hey, Alex, we have this new amazing product that just came in. You should definitely give it a go. Boom. Comes, buys it, and buys a few other things while they're at it.
I love it. I think that the biggest thing is the plant-based, like you're seeing it right now, and my eyes open up and Dana's eyes open up, is that the total addressable market is always expanding, and it seems infinite. So I love that. Can you kind of tell us what your customer retention strategy is so far? You kind of touched on it, but can you go a little bit more in depth on it?
Yeah, so we really blow our customers away with customer service. So if you read our reviews and everything like that, we go above and beyond for them. So that's something that's really important. We have a price match guarantee. In the next 30 days, we launch our subscription model on our website. We have a bulk model launching. So people if you're a member, if you buy bulk and you sign up for a subscription, you're saving 20% on a grocery bill. Who does that? So we're really all about keeping a customer engaged. And in the next few weeks, we're actually launching a whole fitness platform.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wow, man, a lot of exciting initiatives. I don't think you're working hard enough, Sean. And the subscription is huge because, I think I have to feed my dog, right? And I don't want to have to constantly, go back and do it. It's kind of an inconvenience. So you figure people will be able to just buy get their bare essentials on a regular basis. That to me seems really meaningful. But yeah, gosh,
sorry, Dana, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say too, the pet industry is like 90 or $100 billion industry, and people spend money on their pets because, heck, they're like part of our family. So I think that's a great avenue of opportunity for your company. I know I'm gonna start putting my dogs on a plant-based now. That's they don't know it yet, but yeah.
That's great. But I say it also to people, the pet is one thing. And then the other night we were having plant-based burgers and hot dogs, and my little 6-year-old wasn't happy when the ketchup ran out, right? So I'm like, oh man, if I had the app in my hand right now to go ahead and click subscription, I'd make sure that never happens again. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a whole bunch of different things for usage of the subscription model.
When people want to look into investing and they look at the financials, they're always trying to see someone retention wise, and you'd be able to have those types of subscriptions. It's like a set it and forget it, and it's always it's almost like a reoccurring set of revenue coming in, and that's brilliant. I think it's a big strategy to help PlantX grow and expand. And you've already kind of touched on it. We've talked about cosmetics to dog food, animal food, fitness now. Can you go a little more in depth on your initiatives for you to be able to grow your platform, strategic partnerships, and any kind of new avenues of revenue?
So all of this has basically been done in 14 months. We only went public in August of 2020.
Way to go, Sean.
Seriously.
And I appreciate it. And it comes from a team working around the clock. We've raised $35 million. We have no debt in the company. We still have $10 million cash in the bank. So it allows us to keep going. And the beauty, and 14 months ago, some of the team members were looking at me like I was a little crazy, right? Stores, fitness, grocery, meal. And they're like, wow, this is going to be a lot. And we've actually executed on all of that. So to me, we've now created that foundation. Pretend we're about to build 100-foot skyscraper, 100-story skyscraper in the middle of New York City. Yep. And you needed that really great foundation to be able to start building up. And that's what we've just completed. And, hopefully there's more than 99 more floors to go. And while we build this thing up.
Man, that is a symphony to my ears. I actually say a similar phrase. I remind people, the cathedrals you go and see in Europe these days, they are only standing here for hundreds of years because of that foundation. So, man, couldn't be more excited for you. 14 months, too. Wow. That's hyper growth. You must be exhausted, but because you're eating plant-based foods, you seem to be doing just fine.
To kind of add on to it, I want to say this is that for a quote unquote startup company, because you guys just started 14 months ago, like you said, you're in an era to be able to take advantage of free marketing from Twitter to TikTok to YouTube, you name it. You really quote unquote have free marketing, and to be able to touch the youth, to be able to drive lifelong customers, it's basically cheap marketing, but it's fast marketing. It's always engaging. It's always reoccurring. And I think that for you to be able to take advantage of it, to be able to put I have a feeling, you haven't said anything to us, I have a feeling you're going to be putting your fitness on YouTube. You're going to be putting your fitness on TikTok as well as on Twitter, and all these education from recipes. I already saw recipes are on YouTube. So I think that fitness is going to be on there next. So I think be able to take advantage of the current era to help the company grow is brilliant. So good on you guys to take advantage of that current situation and the sources that you guys have.
Thanks for that, Alex. And I think you hit it bang on with one thing, the youth. And on our fitness platform, I believe we're one of the only ones doing it. There's going to be martial art classes, meditation for children, yoga for children. So we are incorporating them. And I'll tell you, my 6-year-old goes to her class and starts speaking about PlantX just because of how cool it is and how much she loves it with stickers and all of that. So the youth, awesome. Like you said, if you could capture them and get them part of the environment immediately, it could add to massive, massive opportunity.
Well, everyone's already connected, right? In some form, facet, everyone's got a smartphone. You feel like, again, it's the cool thing now to take these strides. And so people, in a sense, are going to boast about it freely and, advocate you're basically, all your customers organically, in a sense, are turning into like brand evangelists, which is pretty cool to think about. Like, you can't really do that with so many other e-commerce companies, right? Because this is more of a lifestyle that people are, and that they're going to be proud of. So I think that's really cool. I have to ask you, Sean, only because Alex and I are big sports guys. We know that you guys have partnered with some very prominent athletes. We mentioned Venus and
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, of course, yeah, from Chicago Bears. How are you guys able to foster these great relationships as such a new company? And what's the central objective of working with these athletes?
So it's, again, around awareness. They all have their own platforms. We saw them going ahead and promoting a fragmented source of groceries, right? Like, oh, this is great. They never kind of said where you could go buy it. And if they did, it was just one location and then the next. So when we approached them, we said, hey, you guys, you could act completely organic. We're not asking you to say anything you don't believe in. Yep. But why not give your viewer base an easy way to go plant-based if you live in it, live that lifestyle? And actually, in 2 hours from now, I have a live vodcast with Justin Fields. And awesome. Those are the things that we're going to be speaking about on the vodcast. And the products that he loves, we actually brought in, and they're selling amazing because, boom, he then goes ahead on social media and recommends people to buy those products from PlantX.
And the funny thing is that he was, I didn't even know about this like a couple of months ago, actually probably 5 months ago, is that there was an NFL like documentary of him and going Path to the Draft or Welcome to the NFL Rookie. And he literally, like, for 5 to 10 minutes was talking about his vegan lifestyle, and him and his dad were just cooking away. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure nowadays I look back, I'm like, that's probably a PlantX. You probably went through PlantX to get those products. So good on you guys for being able to hit that.
No, thanks. And the important thing for us is that we're not just paying somebody to attach their name to us. These are actual partners who actually have shares in our company, who are actually aligned with us. So it's pretty incredible.
That's great.
Your customers, too, in the sense, are influencers as well. I mean, it's probably a huge driving force for your marketing, and heck, they're probably doing it, happily. I mean, who wouldn't?
So kind of keep on track. Regarding to scaling for PlantX, like, how does the company grow to $1 billion company? Will the company be able to seek capital injection in the near future?
Yeah, do you even
great. Yeah, no, great question. Right now, the foundation is built, and believe it or not, the way that we're going to be building out our affiliate network is through our fitness platform. So just imagine teachers who you have that bond with, they're the ones telling you about the amazing products to find on PlantX. And we're going to actually onboard hundreds of teachers. So I don't believe fitness per se is related to an activity itself, but it's a connection with the teacher. Mm-hmm. So we're creating the largest that I know of teacher to student environment, and students will not pay a penny to join the platform. That's so great. We're building out that library as we speak, and that's going to be a very powerful marketing tool. But the stores, believe it or not, we keep being called by independent plant-based food companies, and we have a massive one coming up that we're going to be announcing in the next little bit. And because they believe so much in the plant-based lifestyle, they believe in shares. They believe in becoming part of something bigger. And that allows us to be able to not need to go to the markets per se to raise capital, but instead do it extremely strategic with accretive investments, and really getting us from point A to point Z at the end of the day.
Man, I love your vision. You're an excellent CEO. It seems like you have an incredible grasp on the industry, the direction things are headed. Everything you're saying is really contagious to me as a customer and potential investor. I'm curious too, so you're basically an OTC stock. You're on the Canadian Stock Exchange right now. I know you got a lot on your plate, but what's like the roadmap look like, for going from OTC to maybe one day listed on a U.S. exchange?
So fantastic news. We actually put our application into the Toronto Stock Exchange, which is one of the largest stock exchanges in the world. It's the big board here in Canada. Hopefully we'll find out in the next couple of weeks on the approval and when we'll actually move up. And then once we're listed on the TSX, it's very easy, or I should say easier, to cross-list on different exchanges. So we're opening up in Tel Aviv. Maybe we go on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. We're possibly looking at some expansion into East Asia, maybe go on the Bangkok Stock Exchange that has tremendous volume. And then for the US, we actually have our NASDAQ application in. I'm sure you guys are aware, and I don't know if it's $2.25 or $2.50. It's somewhere in that field. And that's the last qualifying factor that we're missing to actually be able to qualify for the NASDAQ. So hopefully next year when you have us on your show again, we're a NASDAQ traded company.
I'll happily have you guys on here again. Absolutely.
If you had a final message, for our audience about your enthusiasm for the business, the roadmap ahead, what might be that final message for our viewers?
Listen, you have a team that truly believes in what they're building. And the beauty that I tell people, it's not like you're investing in a new concept. Platforms have been built out for 20 plus years. And if you use comparables like Chewy.com, Zappos, and all these other platforms, you'll see that our valuation currently doesn't even compare to where those were at one point. So I think that it's great from an investment standpoint. And one thing that was really interesting about the company from, the consultant from Boston Consulting Group, we were in the second day of kind of his exploration of the company. And he turns to me and says, "Wow, Sean, you do have people working for the company who were originally from Lululemon and this and that. We could just tell by the amazing customer service and all these different things." And it showed me that he did his due diligence through the night to come to that conclusion. So anybody who's interested in investing or interested in some exposure into the plant-based space, I encourage them to go on our website, place an order, see what it's all about. And at the same time, remember how hard it is to build a brand out there while we're a platform. So if you were an almond milk company just 2 years ago, but you didn't have the vision to look for oat milk, you could have had the best almond milk company in the world, and now you're kind of going down a path that you don't want to go down. Well, for PlantX, we'll welcome the new products with open arms, and everybody's our partner. And what I truly believe was one of the most exciting sectors that currently exists in the world.
Well, we have a promo code for everyone. Just to get to go on the heavy recruit here. The promo code is just disrupting. You can save 10% on your entire order. Again, Alex and I heavily loaded up on all kinds of treats. I got a candy bar. The big thing I really love too, these apple cider vinegar, supplements. Mm-hmm. I mean, truly, I could have spent an hour on there the other day. But again, promo code is disrupting. You could save 10% on your entire order. Sean, I really can't thank you enough for making time. I live here in Washington, and so Canada is just my backyard. I definitely look forward to the day where I'm able to come up and, scour through the stores and have a blast. So,
no, thank you very much, and thank you for having us on.